Hi, I'm Eric,
And I'm Heather.
and we're pre-engaged.
Welcome to another pre-engaged mailbag video.
Yael from Carrollton, Texas sent us this question. I'm a 21-year-old lady dating a 32-year-old man. How will this age difference affect our union and marriage? Is it advisable for him to find a younger woman? I love him so much, but the age gap kind of confuses me. How can we blend this age gap? Please help. Well, the first thing I want to say is that there is a disparity of life experience there. You have 11 years between you two, and it can be when he makes a cultural reference that you may not catch it just because he lived a decade before you did, and there might be some references that and some things that he lives through and thinks through that you're just not connecting with because it wasn't your time yet, and so not a huge issue but a little bit to consider.
Sure. And then there's the issue for you, too, that for both of you to consider of maturity. Are you both ready to delay gratification, put the other one before you put your needs aside for the needs of each other? Age regardless, that is a question you need to ask before moving into a relationship.
Yeah. Also, when you have that many years apart, you can create a father-daughter dynamic or a mother-son dynamic if it's the opposite sex. And so you want to be careful of having that sort of dynamic if it's already present in your relationship, where he's teaching you or training you and or disciplining you. It can definitely bloom into that father-daughter dynamic, and that's not healthy for a marriage. You really want a husband-wife dynamic and not a parent-child dynamic.
Then there's also the issue of starting a family. With him being a little bit older than you, he might be ready to start a family immediately. He might not want to be an older parent. And with that being said, are you ready to get married and immediately start having children, or do you want to wait? If you're wanting to wait, is he willing to wait? That's something the two of y'all would definitely need to agree on before engagement.
Yeah. And life goals. Since he's a decade ahead of you, do you have the similar life goals? Are you heading in the same direction? Do you have, separate life goals? Are the life goals that you have as a couple going to unite you and going to sustain you? That's a big deal. And different people on different stages of life have different goals in life. So it's something to definitely talk deeply about and to find that out.
I was looking up some comments made by some women who had married older men, and interestingly, I ran across several who were 11 years younger than their husbands. And what they seemed to say most often was that when they were younger, the age difference didn't seem like much of a problem. But as they started to age, you got 20, maybe 30 years into their marriage, suddenly he was moving into kind of that fall, winter season of life, was more relaxed, was kind of just not as interested in getting out and doing things, traveling, just kind of wanted to sit in his recliner. And I'm sure this is not to be said of all men. I personally know of a family member who is in the 70s and just loves to go, go, go all the time. And so it's definitely not everyone. But that's something to keep in mind, that you will, not only are you in different life stages now, but as you get older, you will continue to be in different life stages at different times. And you need to be aware of that going into it and kind of talk through now some of your goals for how are we going to approach each new season to make sure that we stay connected with each other.
Yeah, and as Heather was talking about growing older, you will have separate energy levels, and as he matures, and gets older, he might have less of an energy level than he has now. You guys might have similar energy levels. Now that's going to be impacted by the way you eat, the way you exercise, and all of that. So, but that is definitely something to consider.
Mm-hmm. And kind of an unpleasant thing to think about is, statistically speaking, women generally outlive their husbands. When you have an age gap like that, there is the possibility of being a relatively young widow. Obviously, not for sure the case. We certainly hope not. But that is something that is a possibility. And not only that, but if he needs your care as he goes through illnesses or whatnot later in life, you might find that you are still working maybe and trying to be a caretaker, or that in the time that you were hoping to be traveling and enjoying retirement, that instead you're spending time, caring for your husband.
Yeah. So really, the reality of the life stages needs to be addressed here. What stage you're in, what stage he's in, and as you traverse through life, the stages that you'll be in then, that he'll be in then. Retirement may come early for him, may not come early for you. It depends on what you end up doing with your life. I don't know if you're planning on working out in the world or being a homemaker, or that's something to consider. But ultimately, you guys are going to start off in different life stages. Not hugely different, but possibly different. So it's just something to really, really talk about. Um, so you asked, is it advisable for him to find a younger woman? It kind of really depends on how you two merge, if and how well you two come together with life goals and maturity and experience and all these things. So we hope that that's helpful for you, and that you can take these topics and have a deep discussion with him about them.
And definitely be prayerful about it. Don't just take statistics for what they are, but ask the Holy Spirit to guide you and lead you into the decision.
Yeah. Well, if you'd like to see another pre-engaged mailbag video, please click on our contact form and send us a question. We'd love to hear from you and help you too. Grace be with you.